MLS Aces Podcast, episode 361. This is your host, Tom Sweezy, joined with Jacen Vivang. Jacen, this is our final off-season episode.
Crazy we're already here. We literally have soccer games to talk about today.
We have like a game to talk about.
Okay, but that counts. That counts to me. Okay.
Yes, this is our last traditional off-season episode where we talk transfers and everything like that. We will talk San Diego's win over Pumas in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and then the next two episodes over the next 2 weeks are going to be our Western and our Eastern Conference previews as we lead up into opening weekend for Major League Soccer.
Those will be big ones, boys and girls.
Those 100% will be big ones. So I'm going to do my best to clean up also over the course of this episode as much as we possibly can that maybe we haven't said in the off season. We will see how much I can do and what
That means Tom will just ramble while I sit here for 5 minutes.
There's going to be a point at the end of this podcast where I will just give you a heads up now. If you want to sign off early, I appreciate it. I'm just going to read through some news in case people want to hear it.
Hit that 15 seconds forward, maybe 5-6 times, and you're probably good.
Literally.
Not right now. To be clear, we'll tell you when.
I will give you the heads up. I do want to start pretty just right off the top since a few weeks ago, or it might have been last week, I don't really know at this point, we did talk about two deals that were Tom Bogert official. Tom Bogert came out this week and said both of these deals are off for different reasons. So I do just want to quickly mention Orlando City's deal to sign center back Dujan Stojanovic from Jagiellenia in, I think, Poland is off. He did fail his medical. And then New York City FC's transfer for Musa Sila from Schalke, which would have been a DP signing, is off. The statement from Schalke is, "We are irritated by the behavior of New York City FC. The contracts were not only negotiated but already signed," and New York City had no comment. Tom Bogert is reporting that NYCFC are back to working on signing another striker for the club, and it's hopefully for this winter. Obviously, the MLS transfer window is open until March, and we do have a DP spot open if we do choose to use it. And Darwin Nunez did not just sign his deal to go to Turkey, so bring it on, people. That's what I need in my life. At this point, I love
some drama, by the way. That's great. I love when clubs come out publicly and say shit like that.
I'm not surprised. This is coming from a New York City FC fan. Like, City Football Group suck at deals. Yeah. I'm shocked.
Oh. City Football Group think they can do whatever they want. Shocking.
Literally.
Who would have given them that idea?
Literally. So yeah, those are just two things I wanted to.
I could think of like 115 reasons why they're probably
why they're pissed off.
Why they're sketchy.
Yeah, like, look, Schalke, I don't blame you guys. Apparently it was something with like the medical for Sila that City Football Group or New York City FC ran. New York City didn't like the results, but the contracts were already signed, like something like that. I don't know. It's probably shitty on City Football Group's end. I'm not going to deny it, but it is what it is. Jacen, we did not talk the Trinity Rodman deal last week, and obviously there's also some other NWSL U.S. Women's National Team news. So if you want to go with that. And then
all right. Yeah. I mean, I'll try and give you the spark notes because it's like a long process and also a lot happened. And also, I don't really know where it sits at the moment because I feel like it's still sort of up in the air. But basically, like, the gist is Trinity Rodman obviously is like super sought after across the world. She's an incredible player. So for the NWSL to keep her, they were like, ooh, we can't pay you that much because of, rules.
Contract, salary cap.
Right. Yeah. Salary cap, which I looked it up a while ago, but I think it's like only like $3 million or something. I don't know how it works. Like MLS, there's a lot of interesting salary rules in the NWSL as well. So basically, like, the Spirit, Washington Spirit and Rodman agreed on like a multi-year deal over $1 million per year, which would have been the largest in NWSL history. The NWSL commissioner rejected the offer, though, because it was like salary cap circumvention potentially and violated the spirit of the league's salary cap rules. So obviously that was like a red flag then for the players union. So they were like, no, you can't do that. Right. Like that violates her free agency rights in their CBA.
Yes.
Essentially then the NWSL was like, all right, fine. We'll create a high impact player rule that lets people get paid more. I would say it's somewhat.
So it's a DP.
Somewhat, yeah. It's like pretty close to a DP type level, where you can spend an additional $1 million above the salary cap on designated elite players. So yeah, it's basically a DP. But this also then became a bigger issue because I think it's the players union was like, wait, this is not okay because
we didn't negotiate this.
Yeah, this wasn't negotiated. Like the NWSL essentially was just like, okay, well then we'll make this a new rule, and like you can't just make a new rule without negotiating with the players union and all that fun stuff. So right now I'm actually unsure where this sits. I've tried to figure out. I think technically there's still a dispute over whether the NWSL can do this or whether the players union is going to accept it. But for now, Trinity Rodman is staying in the U.S. So that's what we want. The only outcome I want is her to get paid a lot of money because she deserves it, and to be in the NWSL because they need to keep retaining high talent, because outside of that, there's actually been a decent amount. I mean, we don't talk about many transfers, but there's been a few transfers abroad from NWSL teams.
I will give my 2 cents in on this entire thing, in the sense of, so the NWSL salary cap for 2025 was $3.5 million, and it's expected to rise to $3.7 million, which ultimately, yes, NWSL players are paid at salaries that I feel like you can make it work. But obviously, if Trinity Rodman is expected to become the highest paid female soccer player on the planet, and you want to keep that talent in the league, which keeps eyes on the league and keeps the league probably growing and better, the salary cap isn't going to work, or needs to be drastically increased.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think the NWSL should have just created a brand rule out of nowhere just to like,
I mean, they're like, on the one hand, I get why though. Like their back is against the wall because they have rules in place that sort of prevent her from getting paid the amount that she probably deserves, and
100%
basically gonna get paid. And if they can't do that, then she's going to Manchester City or somewhere, PSG. I don't know.
It's the larger aspect of, like, yes, NWSL and NWSLPA need to be on agreement so players can, across the league from Trinity Rodman down, can rightfully get paid the money that they're owed and deserved, right? And it's fair and all of that. But at the same exact time, like, there's also the aspect that the NWSL needs to stay as competitive as possible with European leagues, right? It's like, look, you have the Lyons, the Barcelonas of the soccer world, where they would probably be the best team or one of the best teams in NWSL if they played in it, but the NWSL league as a whole.
I mean, I think Arsenal just won the Champions. I forget what they officially call it, but it's a tournament of like, I think it was Gotham.
Gotham lost. It was very
Arsenal and I'm sorry, people, I don't remember who else was.
I think it was a South American.
It was 4 teams. It was a South American club, and it was I don't know. I don't want to look it up.
Okay, it's fine.
If my computer was faster, people, I would totally look it up. But every time I open up a tab, everything freezes.
Ultimately, my larger point is the players like Trinity Rodman, Lindsay Heaps, and all these players who are probably in the conversation for this high impact player salary deserve the money. The league needs to do the proper things of probably vetting this out before the last minute of, like, we just need to throw a contract at Trinity Rodman.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like things that can go wrong by just creating a rule like this off of a whim or whatever.
100%. So ultimately, NWSL needs to operate a little bit better. That's my opinion. Trinity Rodman deserves the money. Glad she's getting it, and that's where I'll leave that.
She also killed it with the national team like about a week ago.
Yep,
So.
100. Look, she deserves to be the highest paid female player on the planet. Like, it's not like that's like a wild argument, So I am happy for her. So I'm glad that realistically this is all worked out, and she's playing in NWSL next season, and we get to see her domestically even more. So that's how I feel about it. Do you want to go into the next piece of news?
Yeah. So the other piece of news is Crystal Dunn or Subrier. I don't know how to say her last name.
Subrier, probably.
Subrier, French. She announced her retirement, I believe, at 33 years old. Just an incredible career. World Cup champion, gold medalist. Honestly, like someone who could essentially play in every position, I feel like, on the field. Yeah. So just a legend in the NWSL and for the U.S. women's national team. It's pretty much impossible to watch any game without actually knowing who she was, because again, like, she literally was like everywhere. There were times where she was, an attacker for her club team, and then she'd come into the U.S. women's national team and play left back and smash it. So, just a retirement to mention. I feel like it's pretty big. So,
I always compared, and this is more of maybe like our era USMNT call. I always compared Crystal Dunn, and not in terms of talent. I think Crystal is probably a much better soccer player overall in terms of like comparison career for career. But I compared her to Fabian Johnson.
I mean, World Cup winner, so
literally. But I always compared her to Fabian Johnson, where like Fabian Johnson always just had to play left back for the USMNT because we didn't have any other left back. And there was a good.
I mean, it's a little like with the USWNT, it was really more. There were so many high quality players that it was like, how do we still keep? Like, it's a testament to her, because it was like she was so good that even out of position, she was so necessary to that team.
100%. And there was a little lapse in left back, I feel like, a little bit for the women's national team. And sure, just slot her in at left back and she'll just be, arguably the best left back on the planet, and she doesn't even play the position full time. But one of the most versatile players in the U.S. women's national team history, legend, Long Islander in her own right. So I absolutely love it. I will always shout out a Long Islander. But yes, Crystal Dunn, it was a fantastic career, and I think it's an honor to say we got to see her play live and everything like that. So, Anything else in terms of NWSL or?
Just one quick thing. I feel like it's exciting, so it's worth mentioning. But obviously, Trinity Rodman, we talked about playing regularly. She did come off an injury not that long ago, so it is pretty cool to see her back. But also Mallory Swanson and Sophia Wilson. Yeah. It's hard. Okay. Are now both very near getting back on the field. Yep. I think Sophia Wilson is probably going to be ready for the start of the NWSL season, and I think Mallory Swanson maybe will be a little bit longer. They both had children. So congrats to them. Also, that's exciting that those three are all going to be back, because I think those three are like world well known now because of their Olympic performance. That was 2 years ago, I think. Right? Yeah. Just an incredible performance from the three of them. So that's exciting. See them all back on the field.
I'm excited for the potential front line of the U.S. women's national team to all be playing regular soccer again. Congratulations on motherhood. I'm selfishly excited to watch.
Please, let's see it again for the next. I mean, we're gonna have a 2027 Women's World Cup, so I would. And obviously, we know Mallory Swanson, who tore her ACL right before the last World Cup, so it'd be great to see her back out there.
100%. It is a fun time. It's an interesting time with the NWSL kind of.
It's an interesting U.S. women's national team time, because I think there's a lot of players that are getting more time or their first call-ups. Like this last camp, there's just name after name after name of people getting their first call-ups, getting their first goals, getting first minutes, and it's because of some injuries and motherhood. But I think it's going to be it's going to make for a really competitive team. I think Emma Hayes is doing a really good job so far. So
and Emma Hayes is dancing on the sideline. So
right, yeah. The vibes are great. Okay. I think we're going to go into 2027 with a really solid team, a very competitive team to get into.
All right. Let's talk San Diego FC in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and then we'll dive into as many transfers as we can possibly talk about.
Shout out Forge FC very quickly, though.
Yeah, I was gonna just say there. So CONCACAF Champions Cup 2026 did kick off last night. There was 3 games. You and I were texting throughout the entirety of Forge FC versus Tigres. That was Forge FC's goalkeeper. Like, put on a fucking clinic. Like,
yeah,
the Canadian
it gave me flashbacks to Mitch Hildebrandt on FC Cincinnati, absolutely dominating the fire in
friend of the pod, Mitch
US Open Cup.
For those who don't follow the Canadian Premier League closely, it's not like I do. I will sit here and say that. But for those who don't, the Canadian Premier League doesn't kick off their season until like March or April, I'm pretty sure, because of how cold it is up in Canada. Obviously, if you watch that game, the Forge FC game, then you know. So it's funny where if like Forge loses next week to Tigres and they're eliminated, Forge isn't playing a competitive soccer game until March or April.
Like, hey, yeah, I have some more time off.
Literally. So it's like just in the sheer fact of how early they are in their preseason, that yes, it's at home, and yes, it was freezing temperatures, but you hold a club like Tigres to a 0-0 draw. Just shout out. Like, that 100% deserved there. And then Club America, they needed a late winner to take down Olympia down in Honduras. So Club America did win 2-1 in their opening game, but I don't know, not a great start for Ligue MX's teams. Personally,
yeah, I mean, we'll get to the big one, but yeah, I think real quick, just especially for Forge, like we were talking about it. I think you looked it up. It's like the second ever result for a CPL team.
It's Forge's first ever result in Champions Cup history. They lost their previous 6 Champions Cup games. And
that's more than I would have actually guessed, probably.
They've been the only like consistently great team in the CPL. I want Bobby Schmierneotis, Forge's manager, to get an MLS job so bad. And then it is only the second ever result for a CPL team in Champions Cup. Cavalry beat Pumas last year. So, yeah, Canadian history right here, Canadian soccer history. And speaking of Pumas losing games, so San Diego FC defeated Pumas 4-1 in San Diego's introduction to CONCACAF Champions Cup. In the 11th minute, Coco Carrasquilla hit a ball to find Robert Morales in the middle of the box, who had a beautiful bicycle kick goal. Like, go watch that goal if you haven't, because it is chef's kiss, what you want to see out of a bike kick. And then at that point, I will be very honest with you, Jacen, and everyone listening and watching. I went to bed because I was
this game kicked off at 10 p.m. for me and 11 p.m. for you.
11 p.m. for me. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's blaming you or me for going to bed.
The final kick was the final whistle was at like 1 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, I was not staying up either which way. But in my brain, I was like, look, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna wake up. Pumas are gonna win like 3-0, and San Diego, thanks for showing up. But in the 69th minute, Andres Dreyer takes a corner, who finds Manu Dua in the box for a headed goal. So game's tied 1-1. In the 76th, Wilson Eisner puts a beautiful long cross into the box that finds the head of David Vasquez, who put San Diego up 2-1. In the 81st minute, Keylor Navas saves a shot from David Vasquez that gets spilled back into the box. Alex Mighton finishes it up, and then San Diego go up 3-1. And then in the 86th minute, Luca Bombino gets a shot from inside of the box as he was pushing up the field. Finishes the night for a 4-1 victory for San Diego as they host their first ever CONCACAF Champions Cup game. The average age of the San Diego goal scorers in this game was 20 years old. We've been texting about this privately. And I went down a rabbit hole with this. I'm so excited for San Diego. This could just be because it's the first MLS team to play a game this year, but I'm back. I'm fully invested. San Diego's going to be the best team in the West, and that's how I feel. But, Jacen, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, okay, sorry. I went down a little rabbit hole of my own, which
It happens.
I have
I
questions
get it.
about after we get through this. But I mean, yeah, it was like a very dominant performance at the end of the day from San Diego FC. They led in literally like every positive statistical category. 73% possession, over 3 expected goals to 0.2. Obviously, it was a pretty incredible goal, like you said, for Pumas. But 0.2 expected goals over the course of the game is a credit to San Diego. 22 shots to 4, 7 big chances. It honestly could have been worse than it was probably. I think this is a game that was like I woke up and was kind of shocked by this because it's weird because I feel like if you're a San Diego fan, you have every right to be like, how are you still shocked? You know, but and it's totally fair. But it's just they keep doing things that are like blowing me away a little bit. And at this point, like I don't know, I will just say it right now. I will never doubt them again because they pull out performances that are just really good, and it's not even like most of them are that questionable. Like this was a solid performance that was pretty dominant to the point where they were easily the better team. And going up 4-1 on a Ligue MX team is massive, especially because they have that buffer going into leg 2. As long as they don't implode, knock on wood, if you can't hear me knocking, I promise I am. It's going to be tough for them to lose this one.
Well, before we get to the second leg, the one thing you said is like, it's very quickly that Mbacke Vargas has turned into like a manager that no matter look, the starting 11. This is all going to get to the point of what I'm trying to say. The starting 11 that was put out there, I was not confident in. Right, like obviously no Chucky Lozano in the game day sheet, which we've discussed this offseason. You have guys who. Wilson Eisner was playing right back, who they pulled off waivers. You have Pedro Soma, who they got in the middle of last season, who had his moments of like kind of looking shaky, but okay last year. Like he's a teenager. You have young players left and right, and I'm just like, I don't know if Annabelle Godoy's got enough. I don't know if like this is what's gonna happen tonight. And again, at first it looked a little shaky, but Mbacke Vargas develops players, gets the most out of these players that are overlooked around the league. And the same thing to Tyler Heaps in his ability to build a MLS roster. I said this to you and I put it out on social media, but Manu Dua, the first goal scorer in this game, super draft selection. David Vasquez was acquired via a trade from the Philadelphia Union where he wasn't breaking in, but he was still viewed as a top academy product. Luca Bombino, viewed as a top academy product coming out of LAFC, but acquired via a trade. Kieran Seagerst, who came off the bench. I bet you no one listening really knows that name that much, and that's not a shot at Kieran. But he was a Houston Dynamo Academy product that didn't break in. He was on loan in the USL, and now he comes in and he was getting minutes in Champions League. Like Ian Pilcher was a super draft selection. Like San Diego are getting such talented young players, putting them in positions to play real meaningful minutes. And these young players are living up to that hype, or living up to the expectation, I should say. And you have to give credit to Heaps, Vargas, and then obviously the kids going out there and getting it done,
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mbacke Vargas take is obvious here. Like, even if this was their best 11, which isn't what it was, they're also playing their first competitive game in months. It's the February 3rd or whatever when they played yesterday. So against Pumas, who were probably 6 games into their season, 4 or 5 games,
about a little bit more.
Yeah, like to go and basically go from we're just training. Maybe they had some exhibition games already, and preseason MLS stuff, to a full competitive match. Now they are home, which I think is definitely a huge advantage here. But just running enough for a full game is crazy. Like playing a full 90 minutes is a lot. Like it's a big deal. And I think credit to Mbacke Vargas a lot here. Obviously credit. And I kind of texted you about this, but I feel like there's something with expansion teams where like they have the opportunity to get. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't get tons of credit. Tyler Heaps, tons of credit for how these kids are playing. Mbacke Fall, how they've built this team. But I think there's a point to be made that like there's a lot of good talent, and sometimes it just needs to see some 90-minute games, right? Like
I was about to say, I disagree with you slightly on this is like an expansion team thing. The only reason why I disagree is Wilson Eisner, the right back who started last night, was in San Jose's system, never got a lick of a San Jose Earthquake minute. Plenty of people could have picked him up off waivers this offseason. Again, I mentioned it on this podcast because I like Wilson Eisner as a player. You and I talked about it for 10 seconds and moved on. Like it's the type of thing where he was open for anyone to come get. And San Diego.
Yeah, but that's my point. There's a lot of teams that are more established that aren't looking for players like that versus a San Diego. And it's not like a one, 100% of the time, this is how it works. It's just that San Diego's in a position where they're accepting probably more, they don't have a technically established long-term 11 already. They've played one season. So there's a little bit more leeway between what they're looking for. They're probably, Tyler Heaps, I believe this is his first front office, head position. It's definitely looking a lot closer. I'm not trying to like discredit it. I just think that the fact that these kids are out here and anyone could have picked them up, there's a reason San Diego did, and it's because they're doing their due diligence. They're also building a club that I think from the very beginning, even last winter, we talked about how they were building it in a way that felt like they were building for a more long-term future.
I guess the 100%, and shout out to us, we did say that, and obviously that's the plan that San Diego came in with. I guess the only reason why I say it more of like San Diego deserves all the credit, Heaps and Vargas and the coaching staff and the front office deserves all the credit for how they've come in with this plan, they're sticking to it, and they've done it extraordinarily so far, is like if I'm a fan of most other MLS clubs, and if I'm a fan right now of fucking Sporting Kansas City.
Dude, you could name literally 25 clubs and you probably would be
Sporting
fine.
Kansas City have 16 players on their roster, non-goalkeeper players on their roster. They have 20 players on the roster, 16 field players. If I'm a Sporting Kansas City fan and I watch the shift that Wilson Eisner put in last night, or if I watch the shift that David Vasquez comes in off the bench or anything like that, I'm looking, and I understand that they, took forever to hire a manager, front office, all of that. But like, I'm looking at my team and being like, why the fuck can't we do that? Wilson Eisner was a waiver.
But they can,
but they don't, is what I'm saying. Like,
well, yeah, they're not, and I think that's more of a testament on their front office being poor. And they're going through more of transition, so that's why it's not happening. But like, I think it's a bigger testament that there are probably a lot of Eisners out there. There's a lot more better development in the United States for soccer players, whether they're coming through the super draft or club systems, youth systems. Like, there's a lot of players that I think are probably fitting the mold where you can go hey, we need those depth pieces, go put in 90 minutes or whatever. And there's going to be growing pains. I think Eisner might have some bad games coming up, who knows? But it's just.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, like, I think you and I see that. The Soccer Wise podcast sees that. Matt Doyle sees that. All these names around U.S. soccer media and coverage see it. The issue isn't us seeing it, a fan seeing it.
Okay, but why aren't the front offices seeing it?
But that's my issue is, like, if it was just 2-3 MLS clubs that like were passing up on the opportunity to get and I'm just using Wilson Eisner as an example because he's a perfect example for this situation. If it was just 2 or 3 clubs passing up on the possibility of getting him, I'd be fine with it. Like, okay, not every club needs to do it. It's the fact that like more than half the league doesn't do it. Like that's the issue
and there's probably more than half the league that needs players like that. Like I think you can
especially in a
excuse
salary cap
some
league.
of the higher level teams that don't technically, they're not looking at those types of players right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of teams that are even mid-tier teams, even the Fire probably, like where we're at right now. You're telling me we couldn't use another guy who could put in 90 minutes? Also, there's players like that, but these clubs are complaining about playing too many games and having, we need to get out of US Open Cup because now we have Leagues Cup. It's like there are people who are waiting to play. So what are we doing? Figure it out. Like,
and in a salary cap league where Wilson Eisner is going to come in and you are going to pay him the league minimum salary coming off of waivers, that is why San Diego is going to thrive into the future if they continue to do this, where other clubs around the league who continue to falter and have salary cap issues and need to move on from players and all this stuff, like that's why those clubs are going to continue to go up and down and falter. Where San Diego, I feel like they could be, again, it's Major League Soccer. There's always going to be the ups and downs, but they're going to be a pretty consistently level, good team, I think. And maybe to your point, that is the expansion. Like there is something with being an expansion team where you get to see the failures and faults of other.
Well, and I was not trying to take credit from, the front office and the coaching and even the players. It's more of like, I think there is I don't even want to call it a luxury because I feel like it's actually like a negative, but it's a point where like they are simply picking up players at times because they need them. Now, San Diego is doing an incredible job of evaluating the talent and picking up the players they want. That isn't always true with all these expansion teams, but they're also in a position where they're like, we actually genuinely need, they don't have a youth system that's 15 years in. Okay.
Yeah.
Like they genuinely need to find these diamonds in the rough type players. And I would imagine San Diego's probably looking at, this is purely speculation, but I feel like they're probably looking at super draft and college prospects a lot closer than
probably
some of the teams that, the Red Bulls who have an established youth system and seem to, create star players.
All I know is this, and this is my transition away from it. So if you have anything you want to say, please.
I think it's a positive. I think it's a very good positive.
All I know is this, is when Mo Salah is playing left wing for San Diego FC this summer because he's moving on from Liverpool. And
all right. Well, okay. Well,
he has the connection to the group that owns San Diego FC. I'm just saying. I think that's the perfect Chucky Lozano replacement right there.
I'm curious what happens with Chucky Lozano, but that's a tale for another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point on, if we're finishing with CONCACAF Champions Cup, I just genuinely do not understand how they schedule matches, because why are we playing the second leg of most of these games before some clubs even start? LAFC doesn't play their first leg until the 17th. That's almost 2 weeks.
And San Diego plays their second leg next Tuesday.
Next week. Yeah. So there's a week that goes by. Let's see. Who else plays their first game?
Tonight.
The Galaxy don't have their first game till the Thursday. Is today Thursday? Tomorrow's a Thursday. So when people are listening, they have 2 weeks till their next game or their first game.
Yeah. Well, tonight we have Valor FC versus Cruz Azul, and then the club was
make it make sense. World
Dashu versus Monterrey. Again, I will in this competition be very openly anti-Liga MX. So take that as you will. If you're a Liga MX fan, sorry about it.
Also, we're a Vancouver FC pod. We all know this.
Big Vancouver FC.
We're just a big Vancouver pod, just in general. We like the city.
We might be the biggest Vancouver podcast out there. All right, let's talk transfers, Jacen, because we can talk about them until the sun comes home at this point, because we have no more transfer talk. Well, very minimal transfer talk after this episode. But the big one I feel like we should touch on is Obed Vargas in my brain. I mean, there's a few big ones we could probably talk about, but Obed Vargas being the biggest one of them all. So the Seattle Sounders have transferred 20-year-old homegrown midfielder, Mexican international Obed Vargas to Atletico Madrid in La Liga. I was seeing reports out there of like a $3 million sale. Plus obviously sell-on fees and add-ons and all that stuff. But Obed Vargas won a CONCACAF Champions League and League Cup title with his his boy. He's from Alaska, so technically not his boyhood club, but like you get it. He had 130 professional games played for the Sounders with 8 goals and 10 assists, and last year had 8 goal contributions in 41 games for the Sounders. Obed Vargas is going to a club that in the Club World Cup last year, we saw him taking photos with Griezmann because Atletico Madrid was his favorite club growing up, and now he gets to fulfill that childhood dream and fantasy. And I mean, I'm happy for him first and foremost, but great sale for the Sounders too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely happy for him. I think as a fan of MLS and good quality players, it's kind of a bummer to me because I really enjoyed watching him with Seattle. I think obviously we mentioned him quite a bit last season. You know, he had that run, which was, I mean, he's just a really good player. This was a kind of a move long time coming. It's a great sale for Seattle. I think like we've talked about Seattle a lot, how they're kind of built pretty strongly. So I'm not too concerned either with their, a lot of clubs I would be like, oh, well, they're screwed. But Seattle's not one of those clubs.
Yeah, they're built to withstand this for sure.
Yeah, and it's a lot of money coming in if it is in that $3 million plus range and add-ons. And I would love to see Obed Vargas kind of take off at Atletico Madrid and see him continue to thrive.
I mean, Obed Vargas in a lower midfield block pairing with Johnny Cardoso.
I think it's a good team for a player like Obed Vargas to go to. They play in a way that would value a guy like Obed Vargas and how well he kind of just puts the clamps on some teams.
If like Obed Vargas or like, I don't know, name another, insert another young, super talented player here that I like a lot in Major League Soccer. And this is no disrespect, but if they got sold for like $1 million to Brøndby or some shit, I would be like pissed off about it. Like I don't want to see that. I want to see MLS clubs developing young talents and selling them to the biggest, best clubs in the world. And that's what Atletico Madrid is.
I mean, he's 20 years old. He's generally pretty healthy. I think he played 40 plus games. He's one of the best probably at his position in MLS.
He bodied Messi in the League's Cup final.
Yeah, I think Atletico Madrid, like that's the type of club that is also Atletico Madrid keeping their eye on MLS, it seems.
I mean, Atleti, they like it. Honestly, it almost seemed like this was in the works from the Club World Cup last year with the amount that like even Atletico Madrid was posting about Obed Vargas and like him and the Griezmann photo and all this stuff. So, look, I'm happy for Obed. I think this is a smart move for the Sounders. This is how you develop players throughout your academy.
How you sustain excellence, which is what Seattle should be at this point known for.
And look, it's probably a large reason why they signed, and we talked about the signing of Hassani Dotson via free agency. Snyder Brunel is another homegrown young midfielder coming up through the system. And then
a club that always has a plan, man.
Yes.
If you're a Seattle fan, you do not understand how good you have it.
I mean, hopefully they understand it.
They probably do understand it.
And then the Sounders also brought in 22-year-old Serbian central midfielder Nikola Petkovic on loan from Charlotte FC earlier in the offseason. We didn't talk about it, but look, it makes sense that they probably thought they were going to lose Obed. They sold Danny Leyva also earlier in the offseason. So you bring in Hassani Dotson, you bring in Petkovic, you have Brunel there. Christian Roldan's going to be Christian Roldan until the day he decides to retire. So, Seattle Sounders, they are retooling that midfield.
But I also feel like their ability to have what's it called? Like consistency across year after year after year should be studied by other teams.
Well, because the core remains the
Right.
same. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
It's also a core that is very like Cincinnati, for example, had a core that remained the same for a while, and it kind of blew up. I feel like with Seattle, the core remains the same, but even when pieces of the core move, the core, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you bring someone in that just becomes part of the core. Like, it's very, very efficient for them in ways that they operate to find players that kind of just slot into it and then are there for years.
It's when it was a good example is when it was Chad Marshall and Roman Torres as the center back pairing. That transitioned into Roman Torres and Kim Ki-hee as the center back pairing. Then that transitioned into Kim Ki-hee and Jackson Reagan. And then that transitioned into Jackson Reagan and Yaimar. And like, you associate all of those center backs with long-term sustained success.
Yeah, everyone is sort of connected in like one way, and it just works so well for them.
You bring in people who are going to buy into the system 100%. Let's talk James Rodriguez.
They also have an incredible coach, an incredible atmosphere. It creates,
that helped. Again, that helps the consistency there. Let's talk James Rodriguez. So, Tom, this one's not official yet.
This is a little, I don't know.
Well, look, Tom Hogarth's reporting that James Rodriguez is going to sign with Minnesota United on what seems to be a short-term deal through the summer, and he won't be a DP. The 34-year-old Colombian attacking midfielder is a free agent after leaving Club Leon down in Mexico, and obviously trying to figure out, what his next steps are. Tom Bogert reporting that like this seems to just kind of be a move to get him minutes to make sure he's on the World Cup roster. And, I guess playing in the country where the World Cup is doesn't hurt either. But look, obviously James Rodriguez, like, soccer legend. He's played at the best clubs in the world. He's won almost every trophy you could possibly think of at in Portugal and Spain and Germany and Brazil and everywhere he's played. I kind of low-key love this. And I think James Rodriguez hopefully maybe he can really enjoy his stay with Minnesota United. But even if we get 6 months out of him, I'm kind of hoping James Rodriguez is around a little bit longer, but I will enjoy the 6 months of this man pinging balls to fucking Joaquin Pereira and Kelvin Yeboah.
If he is, I don't know, man.
I mean, he was looking pretty good for Club Leon for the last 18 months.
I think if he really embraces it, wants his move, goes for it all, he could be really good. But also there's a world where this goes horribly. There's a world where he's like, why did I choose this? Why am I doing this? This is the worst. I do think it's beneficial that it's a World Cup year. But also, Are you concerned at all that after the World Cup, he's just like, eh?
No, because I think if Minnesota know what they're getting into and they know, like, this could all blow up awfully and we're out of it in 6 months, let's just say, like, great. We don't normally see a move like this in Major League Soccer. We don't normally see like a half a season.
I'd feel a lot better if Eric Ramsey was still there.
Yeah, I guess so.
But like Cameron Knowles, I wish him the best, but as a first-time head coach, it seems like it's going to be a difficult path forward.
Do you think Cameron Knowles envisioned his starting 10 in the first ever team that he was going to be the head coach for to be James Rodriguez? I don't know. I don't think so, but here we are.
I also think James Rodriguez is a good player, but I think he's still living off of that one World Cup.
Where he won the Golden Boot.
He was absolutely insane, and then he went to a million teams since then.
Look, I don't think that's 100% fair.
It's not fair, but it's also somewhat true.
You can't say a dude who has over 120 caps for Colombia. You can't say a dude who has over 300 goal contributions or very close to it in his career. Like, you can't say that he's living off of a World Cup hype. But
I mean, no, he's not. Obviously, it's a stretch, but he never reached that level again.
No, I think obviously there was a clear fall off point, and yes, he's 34. But look,
I mean, 500 games played. That's if you're trying to build a good team. hopefully he can bring that. Like, he's seen it all. He's been all over the world.
100%. And I mean, look, what he had 9 goal contributions or something like that for Lyon, 6 goal contributions for Lyon last year. He knows the region, obviously. The thing for me is like, look, Minnesota clearly have gotten worse this offseason. Like, let's just call it what it is. We'll talk about them in our season preview and next week and whatever it may be. But like, I don't know if Kelvin Yeboah is a DP9. Joaquin Pereira, I think, is a very good player, and I like him.
Calvin Yeboah, don't you pick him to win Golden Boot every year?
That was last year, and now
I think that's the last 2 years.
I'm over the Kelvin Yeboah experiment. Okay, so to me, it's like, how do you make sure this team finally gets the I was about to say Bongi Hilongwayne, fucking the dude sold to Villarreal. Can't think of his name. Jesus.
Oh, that's gonna bother me.
Wow. Yep. This is where my brain's at this point of the day.
It's funny because whenever you forget, I definitely forget. So
I'll take that as a compliment that I normally have the memory behind it.
You definitely have more memory than I do.
Whoever Jason will look it up for me, but whoever the Minnesota United striker was that got sold to Villarreal,
Tani Oluwa. That's why you were gonna say, you threw me off when you said, because it's similar to like it. I don't know.
It's like
the syllables or whatever kind of match up with
Thank you. Thank you. But yes.
But when they lost Tani, it's been downhill ever since, man. And said that day, what are we doing?
Well, my hope
is
go
for the win, man.
Maybe James can be a spark plug to get the most out of a Yeboah, Joaquin Pereira, Bongi, Anthony Markanich on the other side. Like, maybe he can be the piece that, again, like, kind of ignites it a little bit for Minnesota.
This team got worse, but it's still a good team. Like, you don't think this team is a playoff team?
I've already started ranking teams, by the way, in my own personal notes for the season previews. With how good the rest of the West got, Minnesota got worse. That's all I will say. That is where I will leave that.
I haven't started that process. I'm going to cram for that test.
Yeah, I will cram for the test on the podcast next week. All right, let's move past Thomas and Minnesota, unless you have anything else you want to say about them.
No. It's not technically official, right? So like, we spent a lot of time talking about it.
I mean, but because it's that big. It's that big. I will just quickly. This is how I'm also gonna get all the signings in as much as possible. Minnesota also this offseason acquired Mauricio Gonzalez from Deportes Tolumia in Colombia. They've loaned goalkeeper Wedgley Spiel to Shelbourne FC in Ireland. They've loaned Ho Young Jun to Korean club Suwon Blue Wings, and they've loaned right back Matis Komet to a Slovakian club. So getting rid of a lot of players there. They've also signed 2 players from Minnesota United. One player from Minnesota United too, and signed a super draft pick. So Minnesota United, there are all of your moves in the offseason that we haven't talked about. San Jose Earthquakes. They have sent, and we talked about this a little bit at the end of last podcast, so we don't have to talk super long about it, but San Jose have sent striker Chicho Arango on loan.
We talked about this?
The news broke at the end.
Okay, because I don't remember talking about this.
We didn't really talk.
I was like, I missed something.
Chicho Arango is sent on loan to Atletico Nacional from San Jose with the option to buy. So San Jose have now lost Chicho Arango, Christian Espinoza, and Josef Martinez from their team last year. Haven't really made any other signing other than bringing in Timo Werner.
I haven't really made that many signings other than bringing in a German superstar.
That's fine. Who hasn't played more than like 1,000 minutes? So I have my concerns. I will openly put my hand up and say I have my major concerns around San Jose now, but
I don't ever put my hand down about concerns about San Jose. So yeah, I'm in that boat.
All right. Well, is there any thoughts around the Chicho Arango departure from San Jose? You don't have to have deep thoughts.
Hell of an MLS player, man.
Dude know how to score goals and then fuck up his standing in a locker room. Really, it's just really good at it.
Really good at Doing good on the field.
Yep. The on the field production, fantastic from Chicho Arango. The only other San Jose move that we haven't talked about is that they've acquired goalkeeper Nate Crockford from FC Cincinnati. So shout out Nate Crockford. Hopefully, maybe he can score goals where Espinoza and Josef Martinez and Chicho Arango all will not be for San Jose.
I don't think he's the one. Never played a first team minute. Goalkeeper.
All right, let's move it forward. St. Louis City. This is a team we haven't talked about this offseason that much, and I really love these moves, so I think I might give them.
Thought we talked about the one you're highlighting last week, but then I realized it's just I wanted to, and we never got to it. So that's why it was like fresh in my mind.
Let's do it. So St. Louis have made a few moves since officially kind of securing Yohan Demey as manager. So Mamadou Mbacke Fall is back in Major League Soccer. The 23-year-old center back has been acquired by St. Louis via FC Barcelona, more specifically Barcelona Atleti, their second team. He played 13 games for Barcelona second team with 2 goals. And I think, while he was over in Barcelona, system never featured for Barcelona, but he went on loan and played for Villarreal. Shout out Villarreal likes their MLS players and likes their MLS profiles.
Villarreal's been a common club getting brought up now.
Common MLS theme for sure.
Yeah.
So Mbacke Fall, a dude who was a stud as a teenager for LAFC, will now presumably be a starting center back in St. Louis' sixth system next to Falou Fall. So both Falls will be the center backs for this team. Any Mbacke Fall?
I mean, I'm excited to see him back. I think hopefully he's just gotten better, right? Like that would be the hope, more games. I think like if you are gonna be on, Barcelona 2, St. Louis is probably a better spot. I mean,
yeah, if you're not gonna make the jump from like the Barcelona system to like being a Villarreal center back or like another La Liga team or something like that, come back to the league where you were killing it as a teenager, and now you're only 23 and you still haven't hit your prime yet.
When you can reestablish that, consistency, you're probably going to get more minutes with St. Louis than he was getting, right? He only played 13 games last season.
This season,
right?
It's the European seasons.
I know. Yep, I should know that.
But no, look. I mean, I can distinctly remember talking about him with you on this podcast when he was with LA.
Well, that's why, last week when I was preparing and looking at the transfer tracker, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly familiar.
You're like, he's back.
I started Googling, what? I mean, oh, it's this guy.
He is a set piece fucking demon because he is a big kid. And I think St. Louis have massively gotten better along the back line. They've also brought back Konrad Volum off a permanent deal from Slavia Prague. He was on loan last season. Volum can play left back, right back, wing back, central midfielder, all over the place. So I liked that move. They also signed Daniel Edelman from the New York Red Bulls earlier in the offseason. And then the other...
I like the Edelman one.
I got to see Daniel Edelman play for the Red Bulls too.
I think that's for GAM, solid GAM pickup.
I mean, look, he's 22. He was the captain of the U20s at the last U20 World Cup for the U.S. He has over 100 games played at the first team level for the Red Bulls. He's a good player. I'm a Daniel Edelman fan. I think he'll pan out for St. Louis. And then Dante Polvara. So they signed 25-year-old American midfielder Dante Polvara from Aberdeen in Scotland. Reports of around a $200,000 transfer. Aberdeen's kind of blown up a little bit in recent time in Scotland. He won the Scottish Cup with them. He was a really good player. Apparently, Aberdeen fans were super pissed off about this, but Dante Polvara was a really good USL player, made the move to Scotland, turned into a starter there with a good team, and now he's coming to Major League Soccer in his prime. I love it. That's just a low key. If you don't know him, it's fine, but you'll probably know his name by the end of the year kind of deal. So
Also, St. Louis still has a DP spot open. I think
They do.
they're not doing 4 U22s, right? It doesn't look like it.
I don't know. You would think that they're going to replace Joao Klaus with the DP line. You would hope and think, but
I mean, I haven't seen or heard any rumblings about it, but like,
no. I don't know.
I don't know.
I personally think like they've really done a great job this offseason in shoring up the back line. They also signed free agent left back Rafael Santos, who was playing at Colorado last year. They've done a really good job at, like, I think, getting DeMay a really good back line. You have a really good central midfield, and it's kind of like maybe we'll figure out the attack come the summer. I don't know, but I like what they've done this offseason as a whole.
Agreed.
Okay, let's keep it moving. Philadelphia Union, another team we haven't really talked about in a positive light this offseason, but they have gone out. They've made their moves. They've been going down the center back route. So a lot of center back news here.
They lost some major center back pieces in the last few years.
They did. So I'll try to recap this as best as I possibly can. So they've signed 25-year-old Danish center back Japet Seri Larsen from SK Brann. They've also signed 23-year-old center back Geiner Martinez from CA Juventud in Uruguay. They've acquired 18-year-old center back Caden Moore from Atlanta United on loan for this season. And they've also loaned out their own 18-year-old center back Neil Pierre to Bold Club in, I'm pretty sure it is Poland, Sweden, one of those. I apologize. That is
Andre Blake's going to look up in the first game. Who are all these people?
Literally. Well, look, the Union up until like 2 weeks ago had like one center back on their roster, and it was Makanya and then like Finn Strumman, who was like that 18-year-old center back from the USL Championship. Yes. So now they have legitimate center backs who have played first team minutes along with some youngsters, and you still have Makanya, who was one of the best center backs in the league last year. I'm happy the Union signed defenders. For their sake, I would say I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like talk about a hole you needed to fill. It's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
So I'm still not like, I don't know what this team is going to look like. Will they surprise us again? I wouldn't like be super surprised at this point, but also I think they've gotten so much worse.
So again, we'll go through our previews. I think they've gotten worse for sure.
They won Supporter Shield.
So. They let go of so much talent like so fast, which the Union will do, but I think they kind of did it at too quick of a rate here. But yeah,
like we talked about with Seattle, like they didn't do it at all. Like they didn't retain many core pieces here. Like, and a lot of them left in the same season. Kai Wagner, who's been there for years, left. Ty Bribo, gone. Jakob Glesnes, gone. Mikael Ure, gone. Like,
yeah.
People who are like known for being on the Union are gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, look, the Union will sell a young player or move on from a guy when they think, his time is coming to an end. But like the amount of players that they've really moved
it didn't feel like a club that would get like a fire sale almost.
Yeah, and then that's more what it felt like. I'm fine with moving on as if you have the next core player that can step in, but they don't really have that. But we will see. Union also signed a pretty talented young striker from the Philadelphia Union too. And Tom Bogert is reporting that they have acquired winger/striker Augustine Anello from Boston River in Uruguay. Anello is an American-born forward who I think has a really big upside. Like he scored a bunch of goals in South America, so I'm interested to see him coming and seeing what he can do. Let's keep it moving with the New York Red Bulls. So Red Bulls have had themselves quite an offseason, quite a last few weeks. They have a brand new DP in 24-year-old winger Jorge Ruvalcaba, who is a Mexican international. He is U.S. born, so he won't be an international, or he won't take up an international slot. But Mexican international, one cap for them. He's coming over from Pumas. He had 6 goals and 3 assists in 21 games for Pumas this past year. He is a young DP and apparently can be bought down to TAM if necessary, if they do bring in another DP. So I like that for them as well. But good profile, knows the region. I think Pumas kind of didn't want to let him go, it seemed like, but I think the Red Bulls paid a pretty good penny for him. So
it's actually shocking to me when I look at their Michael Bradley head coach.
Yep.
It's a shock. But yeah, I mean, I think like you said, having that option to kind of buy him down if they do, strike gold or something and find another DP, or if he just turns out to be worth every penny, which he could be, like you said, someone who knows the region, a guy who's been around, has played probably played versus MLS teams.
Yeah.
So I think it's a solid move. I think the Red Bulls, they're going to be an interesting preview. I feel like I don't know. We might be way off on this team.
I don't know. You have a brand new 24-year-old winger, DP winger. You have Choupo-Moting, Emil Forsberg, they're not, young by any sense. You bring in Cade Cowell, but the issue is this team has no center backs. So they just transferred Noah Eile, 23-year-old center back, to Bristol City in the championship for a fee of about $4.5 million. That's the region I'm reading.
Okay, that's enough money to bring in a center back.
He was going to be center back number 1 on the roster for sure, but it's also the same offseason where you buy out the contract of Alexander Hack, who, Hack was not good by any means last year, but still, Sean Nialis was traded away. You lost a lot of center back talent.
They do still have Robert Volador, who I feel like is a pretty solid center back.
You are big on Robert. This is the second time this offseason you brought him up. I like that you like this. I'm into it.
I think I don't think they're done, right? I think maybe they the Rebels. I typically give the benefit of the doubt when I'm there's holes here, because I feel like typically they know how to fill the holes in their roster.
For sure.
And I don't think that this club is totally done with what they want to do. I don't think they want to go into the regular season with 3 center backs on their roster.
I also was very generous in my depth chart. It's about 2.5 center backs. Justin Che is about he's an out of position center back on my depth charts, but it is Robert Volador
and then aging Tim Parker.
It is Justin Che.
I do think there's going to be someone 1 to 2, or maybe a homegrown that gets promoted, which I could see working out for a club that typically that works out for.
Yeah. 100%.
I think on the one hand, it's there are concerns, but I don't know. I almost feel like we need to wait on this team slightly. There's also a lot of attacking talent to the point where they may just try to pull a Miami, baby Miami. I don't know. Don't just attack.
I don't know. That's not really the Red Bull style, but
it's not. But yeah. You now have Emil Forsberg. I cannot speak today, man. Emil Forsberg, Choupo-Moting. All their DPs are in their attack. So
yeah, no, look,
and they brought in Cade Cowell.
I don't know. The Red Bulls are one I'm stuck on. You're right. I think it'll be interesting to see how we preview them. This team's also loaned out Victor Bogash. They've loaned out Marcelo Morales, and they also officially brought in Nuhan Benindetti from Estudiantes de La Plata, who Benindetti played for Red Bulls 2 last year on loan, so he knows Michael Bradley well. All right, let's get through the next, I think, 2 big signings, and then that'll pretty much be it. I think so. Jacen Russell-Rowe, I feel
this is one I've been waiting for too.
Jacen Russell-Rowe, 23-year-old striker formerly for the Columbus Crew, Canadian international, was sold to Toulouse for $2.5 million plus add-ons plus a sell-on percentage. He won MLS Cup, Leagues Cup, MLS Next Pro, and an MLS Next Pro Golden Boot, all within the Columbus Crew system. 32 goal contributions to his name at 109 first-team appearances. Last year, he had 13 goal contributions for the Crew. In my opinion, I will just quickly say $2.5 million for your backup striker. Not a bad deal. That is where I'll.
Not a bad deal. It's an incredible deal.
I didn't know how you felt.
I feel great. I mean, I think for Columbus, this is amazing. I think Jacen Russell-Rowe, I personally like a lot as a player. I would have never predicted probably upwards of $3 million when it's all said and done, plus the sell-on fee. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
But a great deal for Columbus and for, like a backup, essentially. Yeah, although he played a lot of pretty important minutes for them. He was like I don't even know what, like a reserve, like a backup starter.
It's just it's right. Like he was the backup to Chicho, and then it was, he didn't even really get the starting role when Wessam Abu Ali wasn't there, and then Abu Ali comes in and he was the, what I'm saying? So it's like he never really
he was always behind, like pretty much a stud. So
100%. And
like,
look,
it's really not anything against him that he never was really a starter at Columbus, where Columbus is one of the better clubs over the last decade.
100%.
But I think credit to him, because I think he definitely built himself into that role and how good he was, and it worked out in the end. I mean, he got paid, so
yeah, and he got the move to Ligue.
And it really does. I think it's a huge addition for Columbus, but it is. I mean, in terms of money, but it is a loss in terms of the quality that he brought.
For sure. Look, for him
as a
personally,
depth piece and as a late
as
sub.
a talent,
yeah,
like Canadian internationals have done really well in France. You look at Moise Bombito, you look at guys like that. Like, I think it'll be a good move for his career. But for Columbus, right, like, they are losing talent. They've lost Wilfred Nancy. Yeah. I have my concerns for the crew. They've acquired Jamal Tiari from Atlanta United to, I guess, kind of be.
Chicho knows what he's doing.
I hope so. And then the crew also signed central midfielder Sekou Bangura from Israel earlier, the Israel First Division earlier this offseason. They've made a ton of moves, pulling up dudes from Crew 2. And that is pretty much it, I think.
If they lose Arfiston, I'd be very concerned.
Well, he's literally maybe the fucking second best player on the team, third best player on the team at this point. But we will see. The last move I wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth was Portland Timbers have acquired central midfielder Cole Bassett from the Colorado Rapids. What is it? It is for $2,650,000 with potential add-on of $1,000,000.
This is a cash
deal. Trade. Yeah. Full cash trade here between Colorado and Portland. Bassett had played 33 games for the Rapids last year with 3 goals and 4 assists, and he has his 1 cap, 1 goal for the USMNT. The Timbers needed central midfield starters, depth players, bodies, anything. Diego Chara can't do it all at 50 years old, and Cole Bassett
is crazy. He's still on this team.
Cole Bassett is a dude who can do it. So I love the pickup for the Timbers, and maybe it wasn't his best season last year, so maybe a fresh start for Cole Bassett somewhere else in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the talent that Cole Bassett has been shown plenty of times, and he is a quality player. So I'm hoping that this kind of like gets him back to that. Obviously, with Colorado, it didn't really work out as well as, I mean, they all, Colorado and himself probably wanted. But going to Portland, like you said, they kind of need a body, need someone to start in this role. But saying it like that feels like it's like downplaying, because he's actually a good player. He's actually going to help them a lot, I think.
For sure.
I don't feel like he's a player that can't just fit into like any system. Like, I feel like he can kind of roll into Portland and be solid right away. So
I agree.
Yeah, I obviously wish him success because of USMNT's ties. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do think Cole Bassett, I don't know if he's a full-on USMNT player at this point for how he's developed into. He could be, I guess, maybe to somewhere down the line, but I'm a big Cole Bassett fan. I think many Rapids fans are saying he's the greatest homegrown in club history. So, I'm sure it's sad for them, but I think a good move overall. Timbers also acquired Australian center back Alex Bontig from Western Sydney Wanderers as well in earlier this offseason. Jacen, is there anything else, any other move you want to mention before I go on a fucking spree here? And you'll probably just fucking look at NBA news on your phone.
I'm just gonna go to bed. Nah, you can go. I don't think so.
Listeners, this is your warning. Speed me up or skip forward if you'd like, because this is me giving you everything else that has happened that we have not talked about this offseason. San Diego FC have acquired Kieran Sargent, Patty McNair, and Osvald So this offseason to shore up some backline depth piece moves. RSL, they have mutually terminated the contract of Diogo Goncalves, opening up a DP spot. They've also brought in wingers Zach Booth from the Eredivisie and Chance Cowell, Kate Cowell's younger brother from the San Jose Earthquakes. New York City FC have loaned out Micha Elenic, Julian Fernandez, and Jovan Micevic from their first team roster. And they've brought in Australian international center back, central defensive midfielder Kai Trewin from the Australian First Division. Vancouver Whitecaps, they have brought in AZ Jacen on loan from Jagiellonia in Poland. He will be on loan, option to buy, all that fun stuff. They've also brought in U22 initiative winger Bruno Caicedo from Barcelona SC in Ecuador. They have loaned out Jodrick Poop, I don't know, to St. Truden, and they've also loaned out Giuseppe Bolavigna to Orebro SK. The New England Revolution, they've acquired I'm reading too many names now. The Revs have acquired Brooklyn Reigns, Ethan Kohler, Griffin Yao, and have loaned out Santiago Suarez and Jack Paniagao. The Reigns, Kohler, Yao edition are former U.S. youth national team players, all getting back underneath Marko Micevic, new Revs manager. So excited to see them thrive under their former international coach. The Colorado Rapids have acquired 22-year-old defensive midfielder Hamzat Ojdirian from RC Lens in France. Former Albanian Cup winner has openly called himself a destroyer in media, so I love that about the dude. Let's see. DC United have acquired right back Sylvan Hefty. They have acquired Alex Bono. They have mutually terminated the contract of David Schnegg, Dominique Badji, and Boris Enow, and they've also loaned out Kim Jun-hung. Nick Markanich is a new player for the Houston Dynamo, and they have loaned out Exxon Arzu and Toyosa Olasanya. CF Montreal have acquired Dagerdan Thorhalson, Brian Vera, Ivan Lysenko, and mutually terminated the contracts of Matthias Kokoro and Alessandro Biello, and loaned out Emil Gazdav. FC Dallas have acquired Jonathan Sirois from CF Montreal and loaned out Enes Sali, opening up a U22 spot. Atlanta United, they've acquired U22 left back Elias Baez. They've acquired former U.S. Youth International Adrian Heel from our Barcelona Atleti. They've loaned out Ashton Gordon, and they've officially transferred away Edwin Mascara. FC Cincinnati have acquired Christian Fletcher and loaned out Paul Walter and Brian Schaefer. LA Galaxy have mutually terminated the contract of Zanka. Inter Miami mutually terminated the contract of Oscar Ustari. Charlotte FC have acquired Tyler Miller from Bolton in League One. Evan Watt is a new center back for Austin FC coming over from the English youth divisions. Nashville FC have loaned out Isaiah Jones. And then a few free agency signings I'm going to quickly say. LA Galaxy have signed Eric Tommy. Franco Negri has been signed by the Houston Dynamo. David Schnegg and Henry Kessler signed with Charlotte. Calvin Harris, Wyatt Meyer, Jaden Reed signed with Sporting Kansas City. Josh Cohen signed with the Fire. William Yarborough signed with Toronto FC. Lucas Hoyo signed with Atlanta United. Ryan Raposo re-signed for LAFC. And Bilal Houlibaly re-signed with the Vancouver Whitecaps. That is it. That is your MLS offseason. I'm done. Whew. Jacen, I need words. I need something.
Very nice. Very nice. Everyone, you can unmute now.
Everyone, I've mentioned your team in the off seasons.
And he just read 1,000 names. Many of you probably have never heard before in your entire life.
I nailed that. I like to think I did pretty good there. All right, everyone. Next week we are doing our Western Conference preview. Jacen, thank you, sir, for recording. Everyone listening and watching, thank you, and we will talk to you all with hopefully San Diego good news and our Western Conference preview for 2026. So we'll see you later.